The most dangerous manipulators don't yell. They don't threaten. They make you question your own mind so quietly that you thank them for it. Most people picture manipulation as aggression, shouting, obvious control. But that's not how covert manipulators work. They operate in whispers, in subtle shifts, in conversations that leave you confused but unable to explain why. And by the time you piece together what happened, the damage already runs deep. This isn't about reading body language or catching liars in the act. What you're about to learn are 3 specific techniques that covert manipulators use on repeat. Techniques backed by behavioral psychology and real interrogation analysis. Once you see them, you can never unsee them. That changes everything. Pay attention to technique number 3. It's the one most people walk right into without ever noticing. Technique 1. Reality distortion. A covert manipulator will tell you what you're feeling before you even figure it out yourself. Phrases like, "You're clearly confused right now," or "Your head isn't in the right place today," or the classic, "You always get so emotional about this." Here's what's actually going on. They're planting a state inside your mind. Behavioral experts who train interrogators call this opinion as fact injection. The manipulator takes their personal interpretation and presents it as objective truth, not as a guess, not as a question, as a fact about your inner world. And the scary part? It works. Research in cognitive psychology confirms that when someone describes a mental state to you with enough confidence, your brain begins producing that exact state. You weren't confused before they said it, but now you're second-guessing yourself. Now you're wondering, maybe they're right. Maybe your head isn't in the right place. This is why covert manipulators are so effective. They don't attack from the outside. They rewire you from the inside. They make you distrust your own perception. And once that happens, they become your only remaining source of reality. The counter is brutal in its simplicity. 2 words. I disagree. That's it. Don't explain. Don't defend. Don't argue about what's happening inside your head. Just refuse the frame. The moment you say those words, the manipulator realizes they can't define your reality for you. Their entire strategy falls apart. Technique 2. Emotional offloading. This one moves slower, quieter, and it's far more destructive over time. A covert manipulator never learned how to sit with their own negative emotions, so instead of processing guilt, frustration, or insecurity internally, they transfer it directly onto you. Here's how it plays out. You bring up a legitimate concern. Maybe they forgot something important. Maybe they crossed a boundary. A normal conversation would involve both sides taking some responsibility. But that's not what happens here. They start crying, or they shut down completely, or they hit you with, "I can't believe you don't understand me." And just like that, you feel guilty. You feel like the problem, the original issue, buried, replaced by this crushing pressure to fix their emotions. Ever walked into a conversation feeling completely fine and walked out convinced everything was your fault? Drop a comment below. I want to know how many of you recognize this pattern. A psychiatrist who specializes in relationship dynamics described this as an emotional umbilical cord. The manipulator takes their negative feelings and pumps them straight into you because you're a decent person, because you can't just sit there while someone suffers. You absorb it all. You apologize for things you didn't do. You comfort someone who should be comforting you. You carry double the emotional weight while they walk away feeling perfectly fine. The worst part? Every single time you give in, you reinforce the pattern. You teach them that emotional offloading works, that crying louder gets results, that making you feel guilty is the fastest shortcut to avoid accountability. Quick side note, I picked a very specific anime character for this video's thumbnail. See if you can guess which one it is. Write it in the comments. Technique 3. Strategic isolation. This is the technique most people never recognize because it doesn't feel like manipulation at all. It feels like intimacy. Covert manipulators prefer one-on-one interactions, not because they value closeness with you, because witnesses make manipulation harder. A group setting introduces variables outside their control. Other perspectives, other reactions, someone who might call out what's really going on. So they engineer situations where it's just the two of you, private conversations, closed doors, moments where no one else can verify what was said or done. In those isolated spaces, reality becomes whatever they decide it is. No third party to check with, no reference point, just their version of events, and your growing doubt. Think about someone in your life who always brings up the heaviest topics when nobody else is around, who saves their most cutting remarks for private moments, who acts completely different in public than behind closed doors. That pattern is not random. That's strategic isolation running on autopilot. The counter? Bring in witnesses, not aggressively, not dramatically, just calmly. Something like, "Let me check with someone else on that." Or, "I'd love to continue this conversation. Let's bring in a friend." Watch how fast the manipulator's confidence crumbles. Watch them change the subject, backpedal, or suddenly decide the whole issue wasn't that serious after all. One woman realized her partner had been running all three techniques for years. Reality distortion, telling her she was too sensitive and imagined things. Emotional offloading, breaking down every time she raised a concern until she stopped raising concerns entirely. Strategic isolation, making sure serious conversations never happened around friends or family. It took her months to untangle the full pattern. But once she saw it, she could never go back. Here's what you do starting today. When someone tells you what you're feeling, pause. Ask yourself, did I actually feel this before they said it? When someone dumps their emotions onto you during a conflict, stop carrying both sides. Say, "I need your help to fix this." And when someone only brings up heavy topics in private, bring in a third voice. Small moves, but they dismantle years of conditioning. Don't wait until the damage piles up. Covert manipulators count on your patience. They count on you giving them one more chance, one more conversation, one more benefit of the doubt. Every day you delay is another day they sharpen their technique. On you. The person who sees the pattern but does nothing is no different from the person who never saw it at all. Oh, and the anime character on the thumbnail? It's Ayano Koji from Classroom of the Elite, a master of reading people, operating from the shadows, never revealing his true intentions. The perfect mirror for today's topic, because the most dangerous players are always the ones you never suspect.